Hey guys, tonight we step quietly into a room where candlelight dances on carved wooden walls, and somewhere in the shadows, a poet sits waiting for you. The air smells faintly of rosewater and old parchment. If you listen closely, you can hear the scratch of a reed pen across paper, slow, deliberate. The sound of someone trying to make sense of a feeling too heavy to speak aloud. This is Persia, centuries ago, where words are treasures and silence is sacred. You are here to meet a man who's loved more deeply than he has ever been loved back, and whose closest companion now is not a person, but a small glass ink bottle. You probably want he survived the boredom of his daily routine, and that's exactly what makes it so soothing. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're re-listening from and what time it is for you right now. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You sit across from him, wearing a simple robe, the color of old almond shells. His hair is streaked with silver dust, his fingers stained dark from years of dipping into ink pots. He doesn't notice you at first. He's too busy arguing with himself in verse. On the desk before him lies a candle so short it's weeping wax down its sides. A ceramic cup that's long since lost its handle, and the bottle, his ink bottle, round and modest, with a thin neck that catches the flicker of flame. He touches it gently, almost lovingly, the way someone might touch a sleeping pet. This, he thinks, is where love lives, between thought and ink, between heart and hand. You lean closer, curious. The bottle looks ordinary, but the liquid inside glows faintly blue, like midnight trapped in glass. Historians still argue whether Persian ink makers of the 13th century added crushed lapis lazuli to their mixtures for beauty or for superstition. The poet believes in both. He swears that color matters, that emotion travels through hue as much as through words. A breeze slips in from a latticed window, carrying the sound of distant merchants closing their stalls. The city outside hums softly, but in this room, time has thickened. You notice a small scar on his wrist, the kind made by countless pen tips. Writing is labor here. A poem, I send tea, something he writes once and reads aloud proudly, tea, as something he wrestles with. Erases, rewrites, and mutters under his breath until it feels true. You can almost taste the patience in the air. He finally looks up at you, his eyes half tired, half amused. Do you believe, he asks softly, that an ink bottle can understand longing? You shrug. What can you possibly say to that? He smiles, as if you've agreed. He dips his pen again, the tip kissing the surface of ink that's thick like honey. The pen makes a sighing sound as it moves across the paper. He writes not to impress kings or win fame, but to capture moments like this. Candlelight flickering over a chipped desk, the faint scent of jasmine oil, and the sense that someone, maybe you, might one day listen to him. In his world, poetry is survival, as essential as bread. You glance around the room. Shelves line the walls, filled with scrolls, half-finished drafts, and dried ink cakes that crumble at the edges. One is shaped like a small bird, carved for luck. The poet's mother once told him that birds carry messages between worlds, and that a poem, if honest enough, might do the same. Outside, a cat meows, a sharp, lonely sound that startles both of you. She visits every night, he murmurs, always expecting dinner, never affection. He chuckles softly. In that way, she's like most muses. You laugh too, though it feels strange to make noise here, where even laughter seems to echo too loudly. He returns to writing. Each stroke of his pen is a sigh, each pause a heartbeat. He's not writing a letter to anyone, at least, not tonight. He's writing to the idea of love itself, to the memory of a voice that once said his name differently. You can feel it in the rhythm of his words, even though you can't yet read them. And then, for a moment, he stops. He closes the ink bottle carefully, as if tucking a child into bed. He leans back, eyes glimmering in the soft light, and whispers, it listens better than any friend. You want to ask what he means. But he's already somewhere else in memory, in verse, in that strange half-world where poets live more vividly in thought than in reality. Somewhere beyond the window, a nightingale begins to sing. Its melody threads through the air, weaving around you, around the poet. Around the ink bottle that now glints with reflected flame. The poet listens, eyes closed. Even the birds are poets, he murmurs. They just write in melody. You realize then that you've stepped into a different kind of story. Not one of action or conquest, but of stillness. A story where the heart beats quietly, and even ink can fall in love. Thank you for joining me on this quiet journey tonight. I hope it brought you a moment of peace. If you'd like more stories like this, please consider liking and subscribing. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next one.